Hello everyone, welcome back to the shed. It's finally here! It's the steam rail motor from Kernow, the sound fitted version, which is why it's taken so long. I pre-ordered this in December of 2022, 2 months after they initially arrived with Kernow. I finally get mine because it's sound fitted. They have to sound fit it themselves. Let's get it out of the box. Not that I'll complain too much because this should be well worth the wait. First thing I'd like to note, the box is like a matte finish instead of the gloss that we had on the Bully Diesel, which is a few years ago now. That is nothing but dust, I believe, marking, probably from the workshop. That's not actual marking to the box, so that's fine. Sound instructions, we'll get to that. We're interested in getting this out of the box. As the title suggests, this is number 93, the preserved running one. Why did I get it? Because you could run it as it was in the early 1900s, or you can run it now because it's been on the main line on the loo branch. Exploded diagrams of the various ones. Accessories. Wider valve gear scrolls. Can be fitted on static display. Soul bar. Pipe. This is oddly paragraphed, but okay, now I understand it. 2 spare valve gear scrolls are supplied for use if running on less than second radius curve. I'm not. I think second radius is the tightest I have on this layout. Lubrication information, body removal, lighting and such. Cool. So, before we move on, there is a detail pack here full of destination boards, focus, destination boards and pipe work. And also in here is the blanking plate, which has been removed. Very useful and good to know. So, model itself, ice cube style packaging. Not to be that guy, but it does smell factory fresh. I'm going to pop it on top of the foam real quick so I can pop all of this away. I like putting it that way. There we go. Oh, well, that's gone very well. They're not stuck down. So that's something to note for when I put it back in, I suppose. All of that stuff in there is loose. Okay, I'll keep the sound functions out. I won't put that back on just yet because the foam. Right. The model, ain't she a beaut? Nice and long. Nothing missing from the top. Is that a sliding roof vent? No. I'm going to say no it isn't. I won't try and move it. Whoop. Lots of pipe work underneath. All done in black. The powered bogie is nicely done. Lots of detail there. Just realised I've put my fingers on the glazings and now there's going to be smudges everywhere. A lamp at each end, so it's going to be, I think, purely directional functions on DCC. Let's have a look up front. Focus. Ta-da! which obscures the running number a little on the front, but I'm not too fussed about that. That is I think that focus, but autofocus is awful today. I think this handrail is bent. At least I think it is. I'm willing to be wrong on that one. I've only ever seen this thing once in real life, and that was at Old Oak Common on the open day, and I haven't seen it since. I think it's still residing at Didcot, I could be wrong. The other handrails on the side are nicely applied, and there is some detail difference between the two sides as well, which is really interesting. Yeah, that's really cool, actually. That's interesting that there's detail differences from just the two sides of the rail motor. Don't call it anything apart from a rail motor. Otherwise we get into some weird tangents about that, I suppose. Trying to define what it truly is. It's a rail motor. Leave it at that. Autofocus is terrible today. Printing's really nice. See the logo and the pre-crest. There is a mark to the body right there. I'm guessing it was done when the body was being removed. It's right next to the crest. Right there. Mark on the body. I can see that from even a distance, so that's disappointing. This is the same side with the bent handrail, by the way, so I'm guessing they had a balmy getting this thing apart to sound fit it. That's disappointing. But that's not a manufacturer issue, that's a I've ordered a better version, sound fit it for me issue. No marks on this side. I'm just going to have a look down the length of it now, see if there's any other marks. No, so that's the only mark, and a bent handrail. Those are my only issues cosmetically. It's quite, I wouldn't call it light, because the most comparable thing I can put this to is a I'm trying to think what it is now, a Hornby Class 153, which is probably about the same weight, to be honest. One heavier bogie, of course, because that's where the motor is, and then it's a coach. It's a damn sight more expensive, because this is, yeah, again, another one of those weird, wacky, fun things that I like. We'll get to price when we look at the sort of conclusion of things. So let's get the camera off the tripod, have a quick close look at it while it's on the track before we move on to the sound functions. So having a nice closer look now on the track. One thing I didn't check, yep, sprung buffers. I suppose it's almost a must now on most models. Having a look at the motor end, you can see the valve gear down there. Nice copper cap chimney and that little whistle up top. Roof detail is very nice. Since we're on this side as well, I'll now zoom in. You can really see that scratch that's there on the body side, and that bent handrail. I think that handrail is metal, actual metal, so I think rebending that won't be too hard. But that scratch is disappointing. Got myself caught. There we go. Windows on this end are different from the sort of remote end. Would you call it that? Not sure. Tension locks sitting all the way up. There we go. Interesting. Tension lock fitted that end. not fitted that end. I would have thought you'd pick one or the other, you know, not fitted or completely fitted. I would have thought since this usually ran on its own you would have it not fitted. Anyway, the detailing is very nice, the livery is also very nice. This is sort of let's think of the date, pre-1928 livery, I believe. It's a preservation, of course, because it's preserved. This is how it looks now. But that crest is before the coat of arms, the simpler coat of arms was used. So I believe these were built in 1908-ish. So you're looking at a really good era where you can run these, to be honest. I don't think they went until the 30s, something like that. Well, yeah, only disappointment is that scratch and the bent handrail. Bent handrail can be fixed, scratch probably cannot. So let's get back on the tripod and go through the sound functions. So while we're actually in the siding, what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to run this back and forth in the siding real quick, just to see what the motor noise is like. Okay, that's a speed of 10. 20, 30. Okay, so this is really geared for low running. The active brake works even when the sound isn't though, so that's good to know. If I put this up to 40. Okay, maybe maybe the inertia is just really high. I think maybe the tiniest amount of motor noise. Active brake again. I'm going to guess that they've used a cordless motor again, because they did that in their warship as well. Active brake. Lovely. Okay, so everything works there. Now I've just noticed this isn't Lego Man Biff's sound. It says it right there. It's YouChoos, which I'm not disappointed by. I do really like YouChoos because they actually bothered to record from the actual whistle, the actual loco. Because I've been looking at that. Especially stuff that hasn't run in a long time, like the Q1. They have archived recordings that they will use for the actual sound, which is better than a weird, it's not really the real thing, especially when you're probably never going to see that loco run again. Damn you, National Railway Museum. Anyway, let's go with, I'll tell you what I'll do, zoom in. Well, hey. So let's start with just normal sound. It's just the running sounds. It's on. Directional lighting, so headlights. There you go. You've got the headlight on that end, rear lamp on that end, change direction. Red lamp on that end, and that has become a headlight on this end. Which is really useful because, of course, most of the time you're going to be running this on its own. I suppose maybe on a branch line you might whack a little six-wheeler tank wagon behind it, just some milk or something that's going to get delivered down the line. Let's see what else we've got. I'm going to guess the brake makes a noise. No, maybe when it's running. Whistle. That's pretty nice. What about another whistle? That's nice and loud, actually. That's a really good speaker they've got in there. It says a 23mm round, factory fitted. That sounds really good. Right, where are we? Blower on 5. Yeah. Interior lighting is 6, so I'll turn that on. It does come on, but it's quite dim in here. It's dim in comparison to the lighting in here, is what I should say. But yes, that is on. Again, I haven't been on the real thing, so I'm guessing it's very much using older style electrical lamps, so the lighting is going to be quite dim. So I'm driving a signal drop, this one I was interested in. Yep, that is the sound of a semaphore dropping. What if I turn it off? Nothing then, so it's just a signal drop, okay. Guards whistle is on 9. Yep, very nice. Steam release is 10. Nice, but it doesn't loop. Although I wouldn't expect it to. That is auto playing the coal shovel noise, so if I just turn on 11. Turn it off again. Yep, very nice. Now this one I'm interested in, and I'm going to show you on here. Somewhere amongst there you will find function 12, which is the announcements. So the defaults on this card and Lou, and mentioned on the back, there are other announcements which you just have to change the value of CVs for. I'm probably just going to use this card and Lou because I enjoy the Lou branch. It's a really weird way of doing a branch line, but I have visited Lou and I've ridden down there a good few times. So anyway, function 12.
The next train to arrive will be the Liskeard service.
Is he from Wales? I think. Why is there a Welshman in Cornwall? Nothing against the Welsh, just...
This train calls all stations to Lou.
That's a bit less Welsh. Okay, wheel flange I'm going to guess is dependent on the rail motor moving. Coach rattle I'm going to guess is the same. Doors closing is on 16. Yep, nice. And in reality there are, what, 2 passenger doors? Is that it? Yes, because then you've got the guards area here which is marked luggage. So there's literally just 2 doors. Okay. Brilliant. Does the trick though. Draining water is on 17. Okay, another whistle on 18. That one loops. Door closing slams, what, repeatedly? No, it's just a different variation of that. Then you've got shunt mode, so that's going to be dependent on moving. Blower 2, which is on 21. Yep. Comms bell, which I thought would have been higher in the list, because of course if you're driving it in the non-motor bogey direction, you're going to comms bell almost all the time. Not almost, all the time. So number 22. Okay. So that's 2 bell. I wonder if that also varies a little depending on how you're controlling the loco. I think that might be slightly out of the realms of DCC, but anyway. A comms bell is better than no comms bell. You've got another blower, another whistle, so that's worth a go. Okay. You've got platform noise, which is 25. Just sort of that muffled chatter you can hear when you're in a station, maybe. I think it'd be really good to have something like that on just a normal chip that you could hide in a wagon at the rear of a station, or just hide in a station, and that could really bring that to life. But that's a good way of doing it as well. There you go, that took a moment, but the loop ended. One final whistle before you look at volume increasing and decreasing. So let's go for the final whistle on 26. That's a very nice one, I like that with a bit of an echo. So that's pretty much all of the sound functions. Now, YouChoos. I'm trying to think. I'll tell you what, let's give it a go anyway. Program on the main. Loco 3. You program the address. It's going to be a short address, number 93. What's a whistle? 3. Yeah, cool. So that's nice and easy to program in your DCC. Of course, I'm using an NCE power cab, so I really recommend getting one of these. This is really good for your DCC. So this is now address number 93, which is of course its running number. So let's zoom out, and what I'll do is I'll move this off with the sound, but then I'll turn it off, and then we'll try and get it to negotiate some point work. So for the sake of being vaguely accurate, let's sound the whistle and give it some forward motion. Perfectly fine over the curve point. So as you can tell, motor noise is not an issue. It's not even really there. There's a slight maybe noise from the gears, but that's about it. One issue you're about to see, going over these points. Ready? There. There. The clearance on those frames around the valve gear down there, they are made of flexible plastic, so that's okay, but they are catching the point motors that we've got, the fake dummy HW point motors for scenery on the layouts, so that's something to watch for. But it handles the points perfectly fine, there's no issues there. Scraped again. So, as much as I'd love to run this thing over the triple point and the double slip, there's stuff on the layout which is getting in the way, and call me lazy, but I just can't be bothered to move it. But the point work this model has been over has been perfectly fine. The only thing to look for that, well, I found an issue with is the flexible plastic like frames, protective parts around the actual motion on that motor bogie. It's clashing with these dummy HW point machines. So now it's time to run this thing around the layout with some sound going. So let's sound the whistle and give it some speed. So that's the GWR steam rail motor from Kernow. Not too much footage I can really put on the layout because this is I mean, I went through all the functions. Half of them are whistles, valves, station related guff. The main thing was the chuffs from the steam motor bogie itself, which are plenty loud, clear, varied at different speeds. When slowing the loco down, of course, it goes into like a drift, so it's not making noise as if it's accelerating the whole time. So just before we get on to should you buy this and the price, letdowns, the mark to the side of the body and the bent handrail, but that's rectifiable. And I'm not sure if there are narrower versions of these to fit, but these flexible plastic mountings around the motor bogie, they like to catch on the fake HW point machines we have on the layout, just like how it caught this one in the bottom corner, which is a bit disappointing, but it's I wouldn't say it's expected. Maybe just an issue of what I've got on my layout versus what layouts this model is designed to run on. It's good that they've put in specific things to fit if you are running under a certain radius, which I don't think anyone would be running under second radius, to be honest. Second radius is really the tightest you'll be running at. I think it might have actually been so you can run things on the second radius. Anyway, good points, sounds great, looks fantastic. They've done a really good job with it. It's been a long time in the works. This was first announced to be being worked on, I believe, in 2014. So this has been 10 years in the making. I didn't pre-order mine, of course, until about 2 years ago, which meant I got a slight early bird discount, but it wasn't much. Anyway, I'll be talking about should you be buying this for the actual retail price, which for a sound fitted model of this, you're looking at £300, which is 120 for the chip and what, 180 for the model. It might work out slightly differently when you look at the non-sound fitted one, but that's what it should be about. To be perfectly honest, in hindsight, I know people have said the body is finicky to get off, but I much rather would have done it, in hindsight, I much rather would have done it myself and taken the time and care to get that body off carefully and sound fit it myself. It's unfortunate that the body has been marked, I mean possibly in the factory, but most likely when this has been sound fitted in Kernow's workshop. It's not noticeable when it's going around the layout, but knowing it's there is that's the issue. I've seen it, I'm not going to unsee it. Plus I'm going to have to rebend that handrail. Ooh, voice crack. Should have brought a glass of water with me. So would I recommend you get this for £300? I'd say get a non-sound fitted one and fit it yourself if you're really looking for a sound fitted one. £300 is a lot for basically a sound fitted coach. Then again, the Caroline inspection saloon was about 150, and this has actual moving bits and a motor in it, so it probably works out about right in relation to something like the Caroline inspection saloon. Plus this is I wouldn't call it a homebrew, but Kernow have done it themselves. They haven't gone through a retailer like they did with the Bully Diesel, and I think maybe the I can't remember what it is, the Warship, because I have both of those. I was expecting it to be Lego Man Biff sound because that's who they used for the Bully Diesel, but it's actually YouChoos. I think YouChoos are perfectly fine. They're a really good option, and the profile they've done for this is really good. The fact you've got those station announcements, those are customizable with the CV values being changed. Plus you've got a nice variety of whistles, and the station announcements and the door slams. Those are really good, and they're simple to do because of course this has basically 2 passenger doors, a guard compartment and some driver cab doors. What else? I should really tell you whether you should buy this for £300 or not. And it's probably £100 cheaper for a non-sound fitted one. I'd recommend you pick up one of these if it fits your era. Or you've got a branch line layout or some kind of preserved layout. Of course you can get number 93, which has run in preservation with that new motor bogie. I'd recommend, no matter what, if you are going to get one of these, probably get it non-sound fitted, so if there is any damage done to it, it is your fault alone and your own clumsiness and rushing a job that is going to cause damage to your model, not a retailer fitting it themselves. So yeah, pick up a non-sound fitted one and fit it yourself, plus then you've got the options for other ones, although I would recommend anyway the YouChoos sound profile is probably the best fit for this, because they know what they're doing and it's more than likely recorded off the real thing. Directional lighting's done well as well because of those little lamps on the end. It's a bit presumptuous to sort of have them there, even though more than likely you're going to be running this thing on its own. And I find it odd that only one end has been fitted with a tension lock, not neither of them or both of them. I much rather would have, I mean, it's no issue to remove it because we have a foam loco cradle, but the fact that they've done that is a bit odd. I find it weird. Personally, I'm thinking I'd just remove that tension lock because I'll probably run this on its own There's no real trailer for this. You can't do an auto coach. It has to be a specific trailer, I believe. They had specific trailers designed to be run with them. And the most I'd whack behind it is like a little milk truck, and that's not really worth it, to be honest. I think the only thing I would have liked to have done that I haven't done in this review is run it into the platform, because I'd like to see the sort of clearance it has with the platforms. Actually, you know what, I'll make a little cut here and I'll give it a quick test. Okay, jump cut done. The clearances through the Syncroft platforms are perfectly fine. So the only issue in terms of gauging with these is these fake HWs we've got on the layout, which can be rectified if needed, but those plastic parts around the motor bogey's gear are flexible enough where it doesn't really matter, but you can hear the click as it passes by. That's my only thing with that. Anything I really wanted out of this model that there isn't. The lighting internally for passengers is quite dim, but I'm wondering if it's also because the lights in the shed are quite bright. Also, running this thing into the yard it's currently sitting in, it has gone across a double slip perfectly fine. Oh, something else I do want out of this model. It seems like there isn't a stay alive. I think it really could have benefited from a stay alive. Because I was running this on unclean track, and I think maybe once or twice after stopping and then moving off quite slowly it stopped. So I don't think this has a stay alive. I think it could have benefited from one though. So in conclusion, if you're looking to get one of these for your branch line layouts, or you really fancy one, I suggest you get a non-sound fitted one, and then if you want sound you fit it yourself, or get another company, another service like Roads and Rails to fit it for you. So then you can prevent stuff like that little mark to the body that I think Kernow or the factory have done. Detailing's fantastic, sound profile is really good, so if you do sound fit I'd recommend YouChoos anyway. The box is nice enough, and it's, I'd say, around about the same size you'd usually get of a Dapol, Heljan sort of box. It's in that sort of style as well. It's got that lift off the top. Far smaller than stuff like Acura Scales boxes, which I think is good because Acura Scales boxes are bloody huge. So yeah, plenty of good points. Slight downside, but that's probably due to some form of mishandling either at the factory or by Kernow themselves. So with that I can only recommend that you get a non-sound fitted one and go from there. It's very nice, it fits well. I think it fits the sort of branch line scene. In terms of speed as well, most of the time I was running it at about 60 or 70 on the DCC power cab. So this is geared for quite slow running. This is a branch line hero. This isn't some pocket rocket that ran on the main line, which is accurate. It's perfectly fine, and it does get up to a nice little speed when you're putting it up towards 80 or 90 on the controller. So if you have any further questions about this model, leave a comment. Please do. I know I'm terrible at responding to them half the time, but believe me, I will make an effort when my time is free. Next model review should be the new Met-Vic turbine from Rails of Sheffield, Heljan. That is in stock now. That's another one I've got. You know, the retailer themselves are going to fit the sound for me, so that will be one to watch for in terms of any marks on the bodies. So until the next time we are in the shed, goodbye.